All right, it's 5 o'clock. We call the Berkeley County Deputy Sheriff Civil Service Commission to order. First item on the agenda will be reading and approval of minutes after we get the mic working. Okay. Good?
I'm sorry, sir. Had a technical difficulty there.
All right.
We are good now.
Mr. Alton has distributed this approval of special meeting minutes from Thursday, May 8th, and the regularly scheduled meeting of Wednesday, May 21st. Has everyone read them? Any additions, deletions, or corrections?
Make a motion, we approve the special meeting minutes from Thursday, May 8th, 2025.
All right, is there a second?
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. And I'll make a motion that we approve the regularly scheduled meeting minutes from Wednesday, May 21st, 2025.
Is there a second?
And I second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. John, we're going to move on to budget update, informational.
Okay, so with that being said, I did pass out to you the report as of today, June 18th. And what it does is it reflects a difference in postage of $26.30. This was a result of mailing back the Captain, Lieutenant, Sergeant, Corporal test back to the West Virginia Division of Personnel. That was mailed out on June 2nd. We went from an obligation rate of 9.4 last month to an obligation rate of 12.9 this month. There's an invoice outstanding in the amount of $31.59. It's to be taken out of the account. This is for mailing back the promotional material that we just tested for on Captain or Corporal this past Monday on June 16th. This amount is higher than the previous shipment, and this is due to the county apparently, and it's changed the way they do the credit card. We used to have a county card that could be used for multiple things. Travel, purchase of sending materials back to Charleston. They've changed from that to the state P card, and they had to make a decision whether to allow the P card just for travel or for everything. And they limited the P card just for travel. So that took away us being able to do business the way we used to. So now we have to take, whenever we mail anything back, we have to go through going postal, which there's an increase in a fee for that. It's not much, but the difference between mailing back a package 2 weeks ago to what we mailed back this week was $5.29. So by eliminating the card, it's going to be costing us a little bit more, not much. So that was per our the county clerk's chief deputy, Marcia Knoll. That's what she told me today as I was preparing notes. The next item on there is the advertisement and publication. You'll notice there's a difference of $710.60. This was the result of a $358.81 journal promotional ad. That ad ran on May 11th, 2025 for the May 30th promotional for all ranks. And this amount also reflects $351.79 for a promotional announcement, which ran on May 27th, announcing the corporal test that we just gave this past Monday, June 16th. We went from an obligation rate of last month of 67.1% to an obligation rate of 81.3%. Pending tonight's motion and vote relating to a proposed upcoming corporal test, there should be an invoice in the amount of $301.79 that will be coming into us hopefully on Monday, depending on how your motions and votes go. So that'll be outstanding still. And then that should finish up the advertising and publication. Professional services, difference of $500. That relates to the retainer fee being paid out for Mr. Henry to represent the Civil Service Commission. We went from an obligation rate of 1% to an obligation rate of 30.2%. So, with that being said, that's where we are. That's your budget report.
Any discussion? All right. Next item on the agenda, the old business, issue 2024-13, open hire process, rules and regulations. Well, I think we all have before us the most recent draft.
And I think we've kicked this thing around so much that I think we've got a pretty good product here. I know a couple of you met last Friday to finish up. I appreciate everybody's help, Chief Young and the association and commissioners, of course, and John and Will Henderson participated, and especially Commissioner Wilson for all his hard work and many hours he's put into this. But with that, I mean, I think we're ready to approve. Unless somebody has questions.
There was only 3 things left on there that we made a few little changes to at the last meeting. Everything else we had discussed quite extensively, so I updated the document with all those changes. So the 3 areas, the first one be on page 9. Yeah, page 9, and that's the eligibility portion. And this is where, let me take it back. This is preliminary requirements, refusal to examine or certify. And this is where we went in there and looked. We had a lot of information in there when it talked about drug usage. And we tried to condense it, clean it up, and make it simple and easier to work with. So what we came up with was basically in the new document, it's paragraphs 1C, 1D, and 1E. We took out a lot of the others and combined them down into this. And these just basically say, any applicant for the position of deputy sheriff must be clean and sober from alcohol and any and all illegal substances or scheduled narcotics. D says for a period of at least 12 months, we changed that because before it was 36, for a period of at least 12 months prior to application, an applicant cannot have used or have any use of marijuana, synthetic or natural, and this includes medical marijuana. Paragraph E says, no applicant for the position of deputy sheriff shall be considered by this commission if they have habitually used any prescription medications that were not specifically prescribed for the applicant. And we went on to say habitual use is defined as use that is done regularly or repeatedly. Each situation will be viewed on a case-by-case basis. So if you remember from the old one there was almost 3/4 of a page where we listed a lot of different drugs and everything. We simplified this and brought it down to saying what we have right here in paragraphs C, D, and E. I think that we've made that much more clear and much easier to work with. If you want, we'll go on to the next one.
Yep.
Okay, let's go to page 18. Okay, on page 18, this is where we get into looking at the situation if someone would decline a promotional opportunity. We've had a lot of discussion on that, so to try to clarify that and make it as simple and easy to understand as we can, we wrote the following. And it's under, let's see here, this would be section 2 eligibility, paragraph 2, starting paragraph 2B. Only candidate eligible declines a test or promotion. Any deputy sheriff that declines to take the written exam or declines a promotional officer will do so in writing to the Civil Service Commission. This will be done within 5 days of the notice they are eligible or within 5 days after they are advised they have passed the written examination. Once this notice is received, the Civil Service Commission will, every 30 days from the date of vacancy, request from the sheriff if there is anyone eligible for promotions for the vacancy that exists. The sheriff will respond in writing, which may be in the form of letter or email to the Civil Service Commission if there is or is not anyone eligible. This procedure will be repeated every 30 days until an eligible candidate exists and desires to take the written examination. If after declining the opportunity previously during this particular vacancy, the deputy sheriff reconsiders the opportunity, then a new written exam will be administered. However, it will be the responsibility of the deputy sheriff to request reconsideration and must be done in writing to the Civil Service Commission. Date of vacancy versus date of eligibility. In these such circumstances, it is important to recognize that the date of vacancy and the date of eligibility may be different. The date of vacancy will never change. However, the date of eligibility may change to coincide with a candidate having 2 years previous service in the next lower grade. So we tried to simplify that, but tried to make sure we covered all aspects of that. We've put the onus, I think is how Steve had put it before, we put the responsibility back on the deputy sheriff to say, if they're not going to take it, they need to let us know. If they want reconsideration, they have to let us know. It's their responsibility. All we're going to do is go back to the sheriff every 30 days and say, hey, has anybody else come up that we're not aware of, so that we don't miss anything. We needed to make sure we clarified date of vacancy and date of eligibility, because sometimes that gets a little confusing. The vacancy date will never change. If you would leave it on 1 May, then that's always going to be the date of vacancy. But you might not have anybody eligible because they don't have the 2 years in the next lower grade to be eligible. So that's why we keep checking to see when someone has become eligible. So the date of eligibility might be down the road. In the case that we had recently with Cronister and with Tyler, that's exactly what happened. Nothing became eligible again until Tyler became eligible, which was further down the road, almost a year down the road. But he had the 2 years in the previous lower grade. That's what made him eligible, even though the date of vacancy was almost a year ago. So I just want to make sure we clarified that.
So just so we're clear, because I know in the past, as soon as another person became eligible, that was the only person who could test. Is that still what
Yes,
we
sir.
plan to be the case? So if we go back in 30 days and there's now 2 people, only the first one who was eligible will test, or?
Here's, and it's not written this way, but
Yeah.
let's say that we've asked the sheriff on 1 May, if there's anybody eligible. There's nobody eligible. On the 15th of May, if someone becomes eligible, the sheriff should be letting us know, hey, I got a person that's eligible now. Or he could, when we ask him on 1 May, say, I don't have nobody eligible now, but there will be a person eligible 15 May. If that person becomes eligible on 15 May and there's one eligible on 1 June, if he goes ahead and notifies us, that person's going to test on their own because they're eligible. Nobody else is eligible at the time. We don't have to wait the 30 days. We're using the 30-day just to make sure we're staying in constant contact with the sheriff's office to make sure nothing has happened that we missed.
And I think John and Tom are keeping their spreadsheet up to date now, so we'll know too. So, yeah.
Yes, we're good.
Just want to
I have
clarify.
my own now that I don't get yelled at. And that's what brings me.
Your name on that list? Your name on that list? It is now. Just checking. We got these rules.
So, okay.
All right.
We'll go to the last one. Your time to hang on there.
And I do want to get with you on that spreadsheet. I updated from the 3 that you've sent me this week.
You're on page 23.
Yeah,
On page
I've
23.
updated that,
Does the,
but the unit numbers don't kind of match
Well,
up and all
special
that.
does the county
Yeah,
have a
sure, yeah.
Google Drive or a OneDrive or something where you could share that, access to that file? So we don't keep, you have to be,
Drive that we use, but yeah, I mean.
Another
I don't
folder?
see why we shouldn't, because I didn't keep something like I'm saying. I just took. So I took thing out of that 156 spot, added a new line in at the bottom of the portals and just stuck 156 up there. That 156 is still down here.
It's blind,
Did the same with the
open.
rest. He's just the only weird one out of the bunch because all the rest were the senior most.
Yep, I noticed
I just
that.
added a new line in for the time being.
Okay.
Okay, the last big change that we had discussed at the meeting, this will be on page 23. This is item 10C, special circumstances. This is a whole new section that we added. And this is where we're talking about actually, 10 says exceptions. There are special circumstances, and we've put it in here. It says, these circumstances are short notice emergency situations. Each situation will be decided upon on a case-by-case basis. In order to receive such consideration, at least one of the 3 civil service commissioners must be contacted prior to the start of any testing. The initial request must contain the deputy's name and a detailed reason for such consideration. If the initial request is granted, a special meeting of the commission will be held within 3 business days to consider the request completely. The requesting deputy sheriff will be responsible for all documentation, witnesses, evidence to support the request. If the request is granted, then a makeup test date will be set as soon as possible so as not to delay any further the testing cycle. We talked about this. This came up because of the recent situation where one of the deputies had an issue with childbirth, I believe it was, and our rules didn't allow for that at that time. Steve, we talked a lot about special or case-by-case basis, and we know we like to try to be careful of that. And in all of our rules and regs, this would only be the second case-by-case basis situation. Even the law allows for case-by-case situations at times. I think we've done very well about keeping things to be pretty specific and black and white, but sometimes there are some things we have to look at, and this is the best we could come up with here for special circumstances at the last minute. And we used a lot of examples, like let's say a man's supposed to test at 9 o'clock the next morning, and at midnight maybe he has a kidney stone. He goes to the emergency room. He's on medication. You know, he doesn't get out till 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. He's in no shape to test. And that's why we put in there that a commissioner has to be contacted. Didn't say the deputy. Spouse may contact one of us and say, this is what's going on. You know, it'd be incumbent upon us, one of us, to get as much information we can. Yes, we think that meets. Then we'll go ahead and hold the special session 3 days later. If they don't show up or they don't show us enough information, then we would deny it and they wouldn't test. But if they show us basically documentation from the hospital in that case, okay, then we would decide as a commission and say, hey, we think that they meet the special circumstances, and then allow them to retest. So,
well, and I think even though it's case by case, over time, you're going to have precedent.
yes, you will.
Yeah.
Yes, you will.
So you're not, you just can't get into, one person has a hospital stay and we give him, but then the next person we don't.
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of it, truthfully, I think a lot of it will be if we say yes initially, when we hold the meeting 3 days later, if they provide what is needed to show, hey, it meets that, you know. If they come in and say, well, I was in the hospital, well, you normally get a discharge report. Where's that at least? If they don't have anything, you know, we can't, they have to help themselves. And that's what I tried to put that back on the deputy to say, it's on them to provide that to us. So those are the 3 last major changes that we really discussed at the last meeting, which was last week. Everything else we had discussed, and we went ahead and updated it into the system. So, Do we have any further, I mean, I don't have nothing further as far as
No, I
discussion.
think, I don't have anything further to discuss. I guess the question is, are we in a position now to move forward with this? You two gentlemen did most of the work, so I'm going to let one of you guys make a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the new rules and regulations with an effective date of, today's the 18th, isn't it?
It is.
18 June 2025, as written and as we have discussed here tonight.
I'll second.
All in favor? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Approved, adopted. Okay.
I'm not the microphone.
All right, where are
I'm
we?
not sure you were going to stand up. I know you wanted to.
Issue 2024-32, request for new open hire physical agility and written examination rate, March 2025.
Okay, as a result of your motions and unanimous votes last month, there were three applicants that were removed. That was Yannick DiMartino and Kirshner. A revised eligibility list was provided to Sheriff Blair on May 23rd, and the revised letter contained the names of applicants Cressman, Hefner, and Hill. On May 23rd, applicant Hill provided the sheriff's office with an email stating he was no longer interested in the deputy sheriff position. Based upon the applicant withdrawing himself, and a revised letter was prepared with that date of May 23rd and sent to Sheriff Blair. The revised letter contained the names of Cressman, Hefner, and Roy. On May 27th, 2025, our office received a letter from Sheriff Blair through Chief Tom Young requesting applicant Roy be removed or stricken from the eligibility list. Revised on May, that had been revised on May 23rd. On May 28th, a certified letter was sent from our office to applicant Roy, advising him of the letter to remove or stricken him. He had a suspense date of Friday, June 6th, 2025, to have it received in our office of his letter of intent to either request or decline a public hearing. Also on May 27th, applicant Hefner provided the Sheriff's Office an email withdraw his application as a deputy sheriff. Based upon the applicant withdrawing himself, a revised letter was sent again to the sheriff with applicants Cressman, Roy, and Brown. Currently, there's only one name left on Sheriff Blair's eligibility listing, and this item will need to be remain open until the eligibility list is exhausted. A letter has been received to hold another open hire testing opportunity. That will be discussed later in our meeting, as well as what to do with applicant Roy and Brown. That's an individual issue item.
Okay. Any other discussion of that? Move on to the next item. Well, the next item listed was crossed through, 2025-12 Civil Service Legal Counsel. That's been closed, correct?
You all voted to close that last month.
Okay. Moving on to 2025-17. Promotional examination for rank of captain, result of retirement Captain Hall.
With that, promotional examination for the rank of captain was conducted on Friday, May 30th, 2025 at 9 a.m. and Monday, June 2nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. Lieutenant Christian sat for the test on May 30th, while Lieutenant Jones sat for the test on June 2nd. There were only two eligible folks to test for the rank of captain, as I just mentioned them. Both examinations were held in the training room of the Sheriff's office. The two separate dates were needed due to mandatory training requirements. The alternative test was held as allowed by the current rules and regulations, dated 15 September 2021. And when I say current, up until just a few minutes ago. Test material were mailed back to West Virginia Division of Personnel on Monday, the afternoon of Monday, June 2nd. The test results were received via email on June 6th, 2025 at 10:33 a.m. Commissioner Wilson, he just happened to be in my office at the time, and we went ahead and reviewed and calculated scores. The top scorer was that of Jarrett Jones, Lieutenant Jarrett Jones, with a score of 79.139, while Lieutenant William Christian had a score of 71.482375. A letter was provided to the sheriff and ranking the individuals in order. And per an email received from Chief Young on Wednesday, June 11th, 2025, the top scoring candidate for the rank of captain down, all of them had accepted promotions for the respective ranks. They went ahead and scheduled physical examinations for him. And per the email received from Chief Young on Wednesday, June 18th at 11:06 a.m., it stated, on June 17th, Lieutenant Jones was administered a physical examination by Valley Health. On June 18th, he was certified by a physician as capable of handling the prescribed duties of the rank of captain. The report will be located in the medical section of his personnel file maintained by the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office. So, as a result, the recent promotional listing, Lieutenant Jones will be promoted to the rank of captain effective June 19th. Based upon that information, I recommend to one of you folks to make a motion to close this item of 2025-0017.
I so make a motion to close that item.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Closed. Issue 2025-18, promotional examination, rank of lieutenant, result of the retirement of Captain Hall.
Same information. The promotion was held on May 30th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Sergeant Anaya was the only person eligible to test for the rank of lieutenant. The test results were received back on June 6th, 2025 at 10:33 a.m. Again, Commissioner Wilson, I got the test results in, and we went ahead and calculated Sergeant Anaya's score, and his score was that of 59.814225. The letter was drafted and given to Sheriff Blair on June 9th. Per the email that I mentioned, Chief Young sent that all those that passed, that had the highest scores, accepted the promotion. And per the email received from Chief Young, again on June 17th, Sergeant Anaya was administered the physical examination by Valley Health, and he was capable of handling the duties as prescribed for the rank of lieutenant. And, as a result, his promotional testing, the following personnel will be promoted on the rank of lieutenant effective today, June 18th. So again, based upon that, I make the recommendation, one of you make a motion to close issue item 2025-0018.
I make a motion to close item 0018.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That matter is closed. Issue 2025-19, again, request for promotional examination, rank of sergeant as a result of retirement of Captain Hall.
Okay, you've already heard the spiel. Basically, it boils down to Corporal Dobson was the only one eligible to do the test for that, for the rank of sergeant. His score was that of a 56.531775. The letter was prepared for the sheriff, and again, Chief Young sent a letter that on June 17th, Corporal Dobson underwent the physical examination. Valley Health doctors determined that he is capable of handling those duties of the rank of sergeant. As a result, his promotional date now becomes today, again effective June 18th, 2025. Same recommendation
I make a motion on 0019 that we close the item.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Ayes.
Issue 2025-20, promotional examination rank of corporal as a result of retirement of Captain Hall.
Okay. You had 28 deputies that were eligible to test for that rank. 14 deputies actually sat for the test on May 30th, while 2 of those members tested for that rank on June 2nd. And that was as a result of having mandatory training scheduled that they were not able to attend the May 30th. So out of the, actually there was 29 deputies that were eligible, and you had 17 that tested. Equates to a 58.62% who tested for the rank of corporal. Both examinations were held at the same location, sheriff's office. Test results were that scoring the highest score was Lawrence Meeks. He scored a 57.568725. The next person on that list was very close. It was Andrew Peck. He had a 57.330775. So again, the promotions have been very competitive. I will say that. His test results from Valley Health have not been received back from the sheriff's office at this point in time. So nothing further can be done. This item would need to be remain open for this one until we get an email back from Chief Young. So if I may kind of digress just a little bit, in recognition of those promotions, we have a certificate of recognition to give to each of those members. And for the one for captain, it's presented to, it's Berkeley County Civil Service Commission Certificate of Recognition, presented to Captain Jarrett Jones to commemorate and recognize being promoted to the rank of captain with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, Martinsburg, West Virginia. On behalf of the Berkeley County Deputy Sheriff Civil Service Commissioners, we want to offer our congratulations on your recent promotion to the rank of captain, and may you continue to strive for the excellence while as a team member of the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office. As a captain with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department, this is where you transition from being a third-line supervisor to a leader who will have broader operational leadership and supervisory and managerial responsibilities. Additionally, you will begin to operate at the strategic level within your department. Furthermore, you're joining the ranks of deputy sheriff captains across our great state. This is an honored and dedicated tier within the law enforcement community. Do not take this promotion lightly. Let it be known that with your promotion, you willingly accept greater responsibility. Congratulations, and may you strive for excellence while as a team member of the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office. Given this 18th day, June 2025, signed by Dale Buck on there. Have one for Lieutenant Zachary Anaya to commemorate and recognize him being promoted to the rank of lieutenant. Again, presented on behalf of the commissioners. We want to offer congratulations on your recent promotion to the rank of lieutenant, and may you continue to strive for excellence while as a team member of the Sheriff's Office. As a lieutenant with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Department, you are a third-line supervisor and responsible for many facets of being a deputy sheriff. Greater emphasis shall be placed upon your leadership, managerial, and administrative skills. Additionally, you're transforming from being a second-line supervisor to a leader whose focus is more on leadership and administrative duties. Furthermore, you're joining the ranks of deputy sheriffs lieutenants across our great state. This is an honored and dedicated tier within the law enforcement community. Do not take this promotion lightly. Let it be known that that with your promotion, you willingly accept greater responsibilities. Congratulations, and may you continue to strive for excellence while as a team member of the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, given this 18th day of June 2025. Signed, Dale Buck, President, Civil Service Commission. Certificate to recognize Sergeant Stephen T. Dobson to commemorate his rank of being promoted to sergeant. Same verbiage. As a sergeant with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, you become a second-line supervisor and responsible for several facets of being a deputy sheriff. Now a greater emphasis will be placed upon your leadership and direction. Furthermore, you're joining the ranks of deputy sheriff sergeants across our great state. This is an honored and dedicated tier within the law enforcement community. Do not take this promotion lightly, as you're accepting greater responsibility. Congratulations, and may you continue to strive for excellence while as a team member of the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, given this 18th day of June 2025. And finally, the last one is for Sergeant Chronister. Same thing is how Sergeant Dobson's read. He's becoming a second-line supervisor and responsible for several facets of being a deputy. Now a greater emphasis will be placed upon his leadership and direction. Furthermore, he's joining the ranks of deputy sheriffs across the great state, honored and dedicated tier within the law enforcement community. Again, the charges do not take the promotion lightly. Let it be known he accepts greater responsibility with his promotion. So given this day, 18th day of June 2025, signed by Commission President Buck. So, Chief, I'll give you these for the promotions. So, and that takes care of that, sir.
Okay. Next issue is 2025-22, which is a draft addendum to proposed rules. I think that's been mooted now, hasn't it?
Yes, we already went over those, sir.
All right. So I'm going to move we close that. A second on the motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that matter is closed. Next item, 2025-23, request for promotional examination rank of corporal as a result of resignation of Corporal Walker.
Tests were ordered from West Virginia Division of Personnel on May 27th, 2025, and arrived on May 30th, 2025. They were inventoried by myself as witnessed by Chief Young on the morning of Monday, June 2nd. There were 28 deputies eligible to test for the rank of corporal. A total of 21 deputies responded by the suspense date of their intent to test on June 16th, which that was this past Monday. The promotional examination was conducted on Monday, June 16th in the training room of the Sheriff's Office. 17 deputies sat for that examination, which commenced at 9 o'clock in the morning. Commissioner Dobson and myself served as the test proctors. The test results were mailed back to Division of Personnel. At the cost of mailing them back was $31.59. I've already mentioned about the increase to the materials. Doing the tracking number, it's currently scheduled to arrive in Charleston on Saturday, this coming Saturday, June 21st, by 9 p.m. So nothing further on that one at this point.
Any other discussion on that? New business. Issue 2025-25, request to strike, remove applicant Roy.
Okay, that's where I said earlier we'd get into this. On Tuesday, May 27th, our office received a letter from Chief Young requesting to have applicant Wyatt Roy stricken and removed. A certified letter went out to him on May 28th, 2025. The letter basically stated he'd have his letter of intent, whether he wants a public hearing or to decline a public hearing, received back in our office by no later than June 6, 2025, easy brother, at 5 p.m. If it is not, then it'll be deemed that he has waived his right for a public hearing.
And what's the date on that again? You have to receive it by?
June 6 at 5 p.m. The tracking, per the tracking website, notice was left as no authorized recipient was available for him to actually sign. The notice was left on May 30th, 2025 at 1:01 p.m. Again, May 30th is when the notice was left. He had till 6 June. Nothing occurred. Our office has not received his letter of intent, accepting or declining, and that goes as of today. We've still not heard any back one way or the
The
other.
notice was left at the address that he provided on his application.
That is correct. That is correct. Therefore, I make the recommendation you remove his name from the eligibility list and formally close this item. What that does, it does allow us to forward the last remaining name to Sheriff Blair for the last applicant on the eligibility list.
I'll make a motion, we remove applicant Wyatt Roy from the eligibility list for the sheriff's recommendation.
Second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Chief Young, see me before you leave, please.
Issue 2025-26, open hire physical agility and written examination.
A letter from Chief Young dated May 28th. As you can see, Chief Young has been busy. I feel like we're pen pals now. He requests that the Civil Service Commission prepare an open entry test to establish a new list of eligible candidates at its earliest convenience. Been in discussion with Ms. Sullivan, and it looks like the best date, and the only date really, is Saturday, August 23rd. It's a good date to conduct the open hire physical agility and written examination. So I'd like to have one of you make the recommendation to do that with a test date of 9 a.m. on August 23rd, Saturday, August 23rd.
We have a location yet?
We have not. I want to make sure it'll be one of the high schools.
Say August 23rd?
August 23rd.
I'll make a motion, we set the open hire test date for August 23rd at 9 a.m.
I second the motion.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Chief, how many vacancies do you all have right now?
7.
7?
Issue 2025-27, Commissioner Contact Rate Deputy Merson.
I asked to be put on the agenda for this. I like to keep everything above board, and not that anything isn't, but I just want to make sure everybody's where we're going, because I have no problem with anyone making contact with me, but when they talk to me and ask me about civil service issues, I think it's incumbent upon us to make sure that all 3 commissioners are aware of what's going on. So I did a letter, and I sent a letter to Deputy Mercy because he had contacted me at home. He contacted me by phone, and he was asking me questions about civil service and about his rights, his recent demotion, and he went into some issues with that. So just let me read the letter into the record. This letter is dated 5 June of 2025, and it's sent to Deputy Mercy. It says, this letter is in response to the request that you made to me when you contacted me on 22 May of 2025. At that time, you advised me that you were inquiring about your recent demotion from corporal to the rank of deputy. You advised me of the following. You felt that you were wrongfully punished when the sheriff reduced you in rank from corporal to deputy. This action was, in your words, minor traffic offenses that occurred in another county. When you met with the administration, you were advised that disciplinary action was going to be taken. You advised me that you were told that the sheriff was considering termination of your position as a deputy sheriff with the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office. You advised me that you were given an option to be terminated or that you could accept a reduction in grade to the rank of deputy. You advised me that although you did not agree with the issues and circumstances, you did not want to lose your career, so you accepted the demotion in lieu of termination. You advised me that you have had time to reevaluate the circumstances, that you feel that you were wrongfully punished, and are inquiring if there are any avenues within the civil service laws for deputy sheriffs that would give you the opportunity to recover for reinstatement your former rank of corporal. You advised me that you are aware of a new and recent issue with another deputy, unnamed, in which you believe that deputy's actions were far more severe than yours were, but yet you believe that action to be taken against that deputy will be far less severe than which was taken against you. I advised you that I would review the current laws and rules and regulations and provide you with my opinion in this matter. In our conversation, I did ask if you had ever requested a hearing before a review board or the Civil Service Commission, and you stated no. In my research, I reviewed several documents. These included West Virginia State Code, Chapter 7, Article 14, West Virginia State Code, Chapter 7, Article 14C, Berkeley County Deputy Sheriff Civil Service Rules and Regulations, and West Virginia Supreme Court of Appeals decisions. And looking at 714 and 17, no deputy sheriff of any county subject to the provisions of this article may be removed, discharged, suspended, or reduced in rank or pay except for just cause. It goes on to say that no such deputy may be removed, discharged, suspended, reduced in rank or pay except as provided in this article, and in no event until the deputy has been furnished with a written statement of the reasons for the action. In every case of such removal, discharge, suspension, or reduction, a copy of the statement of reasons therefore and the written answer thereto, if the deputy desires to file such written answer, shall be furnished to the Civil Service Commission and entered upon its records. If the deputy demands it, the Civil Service Commission shall grant a public hearing, which hearing shall be held within a period of 10 days from the filing of the charges in writing or the written answer thereto, whichever shall last occur. Under 714C2, any deputy sheriff under investigation shall be informed of the nature of the investigation prior to any interrogation. Under 714C and 3, if the investigation or interrogation of a deputy sheriff results in the recommendation of some punitive action, then before taking punitive action, the sheriff shall give notice to the deputy sheriff that he or she is entitled to a hearing on the issues by a hearing board. The notice shall state the time and place of the hearing and the issues involved and be delivered to the deputy sheriff not less than 10 days prior to the hearing. An official record, including testimony exhibits, shall be kept of the hearing. The hearing shall be conducted by the hearing board of the deputy sheriff, except that in the event the recommended punitive action is discharge, suspension, or reduction in rank or pay, and the action has been taken, the hearing shall be pursuant to the provisions of Section 17, Article 14 of this chapter, if applicable. Both the sheriff and the deputy sheriff shall be given ample opportunity to present evidence and argument with respect to the issues involved. I put in the letter concerning the issue of reinstatement. West Virginia State Code 714 and 8 defines reinstatement in the following manner. An applicant who formerly served as a deputy sheriff for more than 6 months before resignation is eligible for reinstatement. As for any promotions of a deputy sheriff, West Virginia Code 714 and 1 specifically states the following. Notwithstanding the provisions of Article 3, Chapter 6, and Article 7, Chapter 7 of this code, all appointments and promotions of full-time deputy sheriffs shall be made only according to qualifications and fitness to be ascertained by examinations, which so far as practical shall be competitive and hereinafter provided. My conclusion is my opinion and not a finding of fact or law on this matter. If you desire the more formal decision, then you would need to petition the Civil Service Commission concerning this matter. You also may want to discuss your issue with legal counsel. After reviewing the information available concerning reinstatement, it's my opinion that there is not an avenue within the Deputy Sheriff's Civil Service Guidelines for you to seek reinstatement of your formal rank. I base this decision on the following. In 714 and 8, reinstatement is for a person who formerly served as a deputy sheriff and is seeking to be reemployed in the county in which they had previously served. In your case, you are not seeking reinstatement as a deputy sheriff, but trying to regain your former rank. I do not believe that this statute addresses the issue you seek. Do you have any other avenues? In our discussion, we did not talk about the specific circumstances of when you were advised of the disciplinary actions that was being considered or offered. I am not aware if you were advised of your options according to 7 and 14 and 7 and 14C in reference to the procedures for investigation, statement of reasons for the action, offering a hearing. Therefore, I cannot make an opinion on these issues. Due to the time that has passed since your reduction in grade, 9/11 of 24, it would be in my opinion that you would need to consult legal advice in this matter. In closing, I hope this at least answers some of your questions. I'm always available to discuss the matter further with you. Please feel free to reach out to me anytime you have a concern. And I signed the letter and had a copy of that placed in his mailbox at the sheriff's office. At the time I took it over, I believe he was away on vacation. If he has come back and he has looked at that letter, he has not been back in contact with me in any way, shape, or form since then. But I wanted to go on record that he contacted me. It was a question about civil service. I gave him my opinion. It's not a ruling, as I put in the letter. If he has an issue, then he should formally make a petition to us to discuss the matter. But I didn't see anything that he has, based upon what he had told me and what little bit I know. And I don't know of anything where he formally requested any type of a hearing from a hearing board or the Civil Service Commission. So therefore, I don't see where he has any avenues of reinstatement through the state law.
I just want to make it known, short and sweet, to keep it simple. He had legal counsel throughout the entire proceeding.
Okay. I appreciate that information. So again, I did the letter and sent to him. I got a letter to be placed into the file for civil service. I wanted that to be on record because the questions he was asking, when he was asking, I felt I was glad that he was willing to reach out to me, but I think that needs to go on record and be part of the civil service minutes. So if there's any questions in the future, we're all on the same page. We know what's happening. And I think you remember I reached out to you and asked you if he had ever made contact with you, and you told me no, he hadn't. So because I thought, as the deputy sheriff's appointee, they might contact you first, but I guess he did that with me because I'd been the chief before, and he just reached out to me. Not sure why, because him and I didn't see eye to eye on the last time we had this conversation, but I just wanted it to be a matter of record.
Probably got a better letter than he. So.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Wilson, for putting that in the record, bringing us up to speed. It looks to me like his remedy's under 1417, and he didn't pursue it. If he does, but I don't think there's a time frame on that. I think he can still pursue it. But he has not, is the point. So, any further discussion of that issue? All right, issue 2025-28. Request for promotional examination, rank of corporal, result of the promotion of Corporal Chronister to sergeant.
Okay, so at that point, we're going to, on May 12th, Corporal Chronister was promoted to the rank of sergeant, thereby creating a vacancy of corporal with an effective date of May 13th. On June 4th, Chief Young sent a letter to our office requesting a promotional examination be offered for the rank of corporal. Again, replied back that, hold on one second, I lost my. Chief Young replied back. I was thinking about Miss Sullivan, but it was actually Chief Young, that Wednesday, July 9th, 2025 would be the absolute best. There's 2 possible candidates are on vacation, but there is no mandatory training scheduled. So Wednesday, July 9th was the only date provided to our office. So I guess for the breaking news of the day, and I think this will make some of the deputies very, very pleased. I reached out to Miss Tracy Richardson, who's my West Virginia Division of Personnel contact for ordering tests. Knowing we're going into a holiday, 4-day weekend, what have you, I reached out to her today, talked to her about the test, getting them on ordered, that there may be a tentative date of Wednesday, July 9th for the testing. And in our conversation, she informed me, would I like for her to send the West Virginia Division of Personnel study guide? So they have created a study guide. The study guide is for the ranks of corporal sergeant, lieutenant captain, and for open entry. Now, with that being said, what I'll tell you is her definition of a study guide and my definition of a study guide differs a little. What their study guide consists of is sample test questions. It's a PDF file that she has sent, and for each test, it opens up. Like for example, on the open entry level, the exam consists of 84 questions covering the following subjects: basic math, 12 questions; interpersonal relations and dealing with people, 15; English usage, grammar, spelling, 20 questions; accident diagrams and maps, 20 questions; reading time schedule information and forms, 7 questions; and reading comprehension, 20 questions. And then it's kind of like a mini test, if you will. It does resemble the test questions. And then at the very back of each of the study guides, there is an answer key, so a person can go through and then they can grade themselves how they did on it at the very end. So that's for each of those levels that I just mentioned to you. And let's see. There's an extra set. If you all want an extra set, here they are. You can take them back. My intent is, this is huge, I think, because if you'll remember back when we were, that's a set. So you
Two
get,
sets.
yep. Back when we were doing trying to get the standard and associates, it was going to cost us $110 per test, and we had to pay for a $10 study guide. With that being said, these are free, so it'll be interesting for discussion later on in the year what we will do to move forward. What I will say is, I still, in my heart and soul, I do believe that the standard and associate test is a better test. So you got to look at the offset. You got a study guide. It may not be as good of a study guide as what a test you're paying $110 for is going to provide you, but it also, a deputy would not have to pay $500 to $700 for books.
Chief, you got a question?
That's one set. You have all three.
I'm sorry, I was looking at the front thinking, promotion test, and I saw
Open entry.
level, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yep.
But
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tony.
That's okay. So that'll be a discussion for later on, but I think it's huge. It's the first ever that we've had a study guide, and that's what everybody has been wanting. So
Okay, well, we got a test scheduled for July 9, probably.
tentatively, that's what I would like for one of you to make a recommendation to adopt.
I cannot proctor a Wednesday test, I'll tell you that.
I can't do the 9th of July because I have a medical appointment at 11:30.
I won't be here.
Okay,
That's
so
not good.
the date's been scrapped, looks like. I can't do a Wednesday.
Okay. So we'll
Yeah.
back to the drawing board. Yep.
All right, so we'll take it up next month, I assume.
So we'll have to table it for this month.
Yep, that's tabled.
One of you make a motion to table it.
I make a motion that we table item 2025-0028 until we can come up with a better test date.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, that's tabled. 2025-29, request a strike, remove applicant Dylan Brown.
Okay, that was the last name that we had sent to the chief and the sheriff. On June 5th, we received a letter from Chief Young to have applicant Dylan Brown removed or stricken. A letter went out to him on June 6th stating the reasons why, and he had a suspense date of no later than Monday, June 16th at 5 p.m. to have his letter of intent back to us, whether he wanted a public hearing or not. Per the tracking website, the letter was delivered to an individual at the address provided at 11:16 a.m. on Wednesday, June 11th in Frederick, Maryland. That's where he resides. As of the suspense date of June 16th, 2025, nothing's been heard back. We have not received a letter, phone call, email, anything. Therefore, since he's missed that suspense date, I make the recommendation that you remove applicant Dylan Brown from the eligibility list.
Okay, I move we strike or remove Dylan Brown from the eligible list.
I'll second the motion.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Before we move on,
Sure.
on item, I know we tabled 28,
Yes.
but is that like the only day the training room's available? Or, I mean, could we have it over here on a different day of the week? Okay, all right, well, that's
Yeah, I thought it related to training as well.
no problem.
Okay.
I mean, if it's just a room, I think we can
Yeah, we can
find
do
a
it.
room.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're at the items on the floor. Anything from the floor?
The only thing I would come back would be the study guides. Do we need to make a discussion on how we're going to make this available?
I'm still saying, I'll just scan it or
Yeah.
Okay,
out, email,
so.
print it out if they want it.
So, as some of you, maybe all of you know, when we're going to give a test, like since you have agreed to whatever date, July 9th, to do the test on,
No, we haven't.
No,
I haven't agreed.
no. Huh.
Your point is, well, we're going to have a date.
Okay, so at that point, are we going to do a special meeting? And reason being, we need time to publicize it and all that.
Can we delegate the president to make that decision? The date? That's something we can do, I don't know.
I don't know why we couldn't.
If there's an action by the full commission to do that, I think that can be done, as long as it's in the record.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that the commission authorize the president to work with Mr. Alderton and with Brandy to set a different test date in reference to item 2025-0028.
I'll provide you with a list of dates that are not available, which is only 2. So that way, maybe we can come up with something. I'd be glad to proctor the test. So I second the motion.
That's where we wanted to get to.
All right. There's a motion, there's a
so-
second. Discussion, go ahead.
Okay, going back to your question, when a date is determined, I do up letters, put them in the deputy's distribution box of when the test, date, time, what have you. Fill out the form, get it back to us by a suspense date that you intend on taking a test. That's a mandatory item right now. I also send out an email to them. In that email, I provide them a PDF file of that letter that was placed in their distribution box. And now what I do, I've already got it programmed or ready to hit send, but we'll delay that. I have attached that PDF file to that email that will go specifically to that particular deputy. So they're going to get it at least that way.
I think we ought to explore the fact, and that's fine for this one coming up because we're kind of on a short time frame here. I think we ought to explore the fact, see if that couldn't be put on the county website for the new hires. So anybody that's doing that, they can go to the county website and get it. And there's got to be some, I know there's the means within the county system to put it out there on a shared drive or something like that, where deputies would know they could go there anytime and get that. So we ain't got to send it out.
And for our civil service page, we can add that as a hyperlink to click to that on there.
I think that would be the way to do it. So we don't have to be sending stuff out. People can be made known where it's at.
Yeah.
They can go out and do it themselves. So, okay. That's the only discussion I had.
I lost it here.
We got to vote.
Yeah, we had a motion, we had a second regarding the setting of the test date for item 28, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No, sir.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Announcements.
Any other items from the floor? Announcements.
Okay, for announcements, I do. For planning purposes, and that's the only reason I bring it up, is I will be on vacation from Tuesday, August 5th, through Sunday, August 17th. Yeah, that's like 2 weeks. Yeah. So I bring that up because of all the preparation it takes for getting meetings ready and things like that. I'll be returning back in the office on August 18th, and I think like 2 days later we have a meeting. So my concern is about getting agendas published and things like that. So if you're wanting me to do that, then I'm going to need to have your agendas and items by August 1st. If not, that's fine.
Move the meeting.
And that's up to you all.
Just push the meeting a week. What's
Huh?
the following?
August 1st.
what's the
No, I'm
following
in
week?
August.
Yeah.
Following week would be the 20, would that be the 27th?
I don't know.
I'll make a motion, we move the August meeting from the 20th to August 27th.
I'll second.
I have no problem with that.
Any discussion? Yeah, I have some discussion. John, what does that do for you?
It gives me a reprieve.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, passes.
It means I doesn't have to do it.
That works.
Okay. Any other announcements?
Next meeting will be here, hopefully. And that meeting will take place Wednesday, July 16th. Hopefully right here at 5 p.m.
Are we still announcing or?
Sure.
Am I going to get band members after Brown? I didn't hear that.
Remember the part where I said, see me after the meeting?
Okay.
Like come to the mic, Chief, yeah. Like come to the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
A second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 6:09.